discuss amongst yourselves some of the things you might have that are recurring. Can I just ask this group, can you give me 2 examples of recurring and 2 examples of one-off?
Water bill and electricity.
Okay, and one-offs?
One-off clothing and certification.
Okay, great.
Certification fees.
Sorry, certification fees.
What they pay to the inspectors who come to the farm, flow.
Oh, right, okay. All right, like an audit fees.
Audit fee.
Yeah, okay, cool. What about you guys? What you got?
We have transport.
Transport's a good one, yep.
Food.
Food, that's good.
And then we have farm equipment for one of workshops.
Great. Well, these are great examples of the type of expenses that you see all the time. And now you can see that some of them happen all the time, and some of them are one-offs. You know, or you may know that they're going to happen, but sometimes they're a surprise, which is great. So, why is it important to know these sort of things? It's important because if you know that these things are going to happen, you can predict how much money you might have at certain times in your year, in 2 years, next month, this month, next week. And if you know that you can predict how much money you have, you can make decisions today to change the future in a way that you prefer. So to give you an example of good and bad financial management, I'm going to show you a little bit of a story. So we have Kwame, who's born on a Saturday, and we have his sister, Ama, who was born on a Saturday as well. They both make the same amount of money. They both make 100 every month. And they have very similar lives because they both live in similar areas. They both have the same size family, both have the income, they both have the same tastes, but they spend their money differently. So, let me just get down to my little slide here. So we know that Kwame and Alma, they spend money on labor every month. 20. They spend money on bills every month. 20. And they both buy food and drink every month. That's 20. And they both like to go to the cinema. Or they like to buy books, the newspapers, you know. They spend money on little things that they like to do. And Kwame likes to go to the cinema a lot. He really loves the cinema, right? And he goes 5 times in 1 month. And he spends 25 in a month. Alma, however, she likes going to the cinema, but she only likes to see the best movies. She does not like watching all of them. And she only goes twice a month. She spends 10. So at the end of the month, they have, each of them, 15 and 30 left over. So these are their recurring expenses. This is how much money that they know they have every month. So what happens is, unfortunately, like you were saying, we sometimes have to go to the doctor. And they both get sick. Nothing serious, but they do have to visit the doctor. The doctor charges them
Hello?
15. That's a lot of money. But what happens is, Kwame now has 0. Ama has 15. So the important thing to remember with this is that Alma knows how much she's spending. Alma is thinking, I do not have to see every movie. I do not have to spend all my money on things which I do not need. What I'll do is I will do some of these things, but I will keep track of my expenses. I will write things down. I will look after the numbers that I have so I always know what I'm spending my money on. And when something unexpected happens, one of these one-offs occurs, She has some money to pay for it, but she also has some money to put back into her farm. She can buy fertilizer for next month. She can hire labor for next month. So she's always prepared for something that might happen. Kwame is not as good. Kwame gets money and he sort of knows what he's spending it on. But he also doesn't really keep track. He knows roughly how much labor is because he knows that if Alex comes to work for him and Alphonse, he only has to give them 2 each. But he isn't really paying attention. So he goes off and he spends most of his money. And when something unexpected happens, he has no money left at the end of the month to take forward to spend on his farm. Does that make sense? Do you understand? Can you think of people on the farm who are like Kwame? Do you know anyone on your farm who reminds you of Kwame? Yeah. Okay. And do you know anyone who reminds you of Alma, who's good with their money? Yeah. So, what we're trying to, what we'd like you guys to be, is we want you to understand where your money's coming from, and we'd like you to know how you're spending it. So, for our next activity, you have a list of your recurring and your one-off expenses there. And you also have this sheet here in the front. So what I'd like you guys to do is this is going to be 1 month for you individually. I want you to write down some of your recurring expenses. Doesn't have to be all of them, just as many as you can fit. And roughly how much money you spend in 1 month on that. You have a list of your recurring expenses there, so that'll help you. When you're done with that, I want you to add them all up and put them in this line, total expenses. After that, think about how much money you will make on average in 1 month. Think about how much you earn in a year, divide that by 12, and that's how much you make in 1 month. And put that here. When you're done with that, take your total recurring expenses away from your total income, and that is how much money you've got left for surprises. Could you guys each individually take some time to do that, maybe 5-10 minutes, and go ahead and write your stuff down now.
Please, can you go over it again?
Sure, okay. So, in this section, recurring expenses, you can see, just there, yep. I want you to write down some of the recurring expenses that you've got here. So labor, food, school fees, electricity.
You have to leave the income part.
Leave that for last, okay? Then I want you to think about how much money it costs you for 1 month and add them all up, just here. Once you know how much that is, think about how much money you make in 1 month. Write down how you make it. So it could be pineapples, seeds, and then you write down how much money you would make. Add that up, put it here. Then this minus that is the total income you have after your recurring expenses. Okay? So go ahead and try that. If you have any questions, Kwame and I can help you. You too.